Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing a full set and a removal. So right now I'm just starting by clipping off the crystals on her strawberry shortcake set that we created, and I am cutting down the length so that we can just e-file the product down as thin as possible before we sculpt new nails for her. The only reason why we're doing a full removal in a new set today is because this client wants to change her shape and add a little bit more length to her nails. Going in with my Erica MT20 e-file, and I'm using a new drill bit from Phat Kat Klaws. I purchased this from Salon for about $16.95 and I'm really loving it so far. I actually prefer these to my Erica's carbide bits, and this one was made for heat reduction and it takes product down very fast, and I am really loving it so far. So I think it's going to be a regular implement in my salon that I'll be using. And I'm just taking down that product as thin as possible, being careful not to get too close to the natural nail, as I will use a hand file and a buffing block to remove any other gel before I start sculpting her new set. I did trim some of the footage as I was a little bit out of frame for part of that removal, but now I'm just going in with my American Nails 8080 grit hand file, and I'm just taking down any little bits of product that are still on the natural nail, and I'm just shaping her natural nail on the free edge a little bit to just round it off before I apply forms. I get these files from Creata Beauty and I really like them. I find that they are super coarse for the entire nail service, and I don't find myself grabbing for extra nail files for one service. So I really like these. I've tried their 100 grit files too, and they're okay, but I definitely prefer the 8080 grit. This is just how I like to work, but I know a lot of nail ladies that use 100 grit or 180, and everyone works different, but this is how I like to do nails and how I like to file. Now I'm just going in and dusting her nails off, and I'm going to gently push her cuticles back with a cuticle pusher. And in a second here, you'll see that I'm just scraping a piece of loose gel off the side of that nail, and I am just being careful to remove that without causing any damage. Now going back in with my e-file, I switched my bit to a cuticle bit. It's an Erica Skyver, and I was just out of frame, so now we're just moving on to buffing the nails to remove any shine with these American Nails buffer blocks that I also purchased from Creata Beauty. Now I'm just dusting her nails off again, and I'm spraying them down with some Sunny Prep to prep them for bonding of the gel, and I'm going to apply a little bit of Amore Ultima primer just around the cuticle area. Now I'm just securing these forms to her free edge, and I'm going in with some bonder from Amore, and we're building these nails out to 2.5 on these nail forms. Now I'd like to go only halfway up the nail plate with the bonding gel initially, and once that's cured and it's all done on all 10 nails, then I'll coat the entire nail. After I freeze cure that for about 5 seconds, I take off the form and I pinch the nail, and then I move on to the next. Now I like to start with just one hand at a time, and then I move on to the other hand when I'm sculpting new sets. And I only freeze cure for about 5 seconds because I find this gel has a really wicked heat spike. It cures within 20 seconds for a full cure, so it has that high catalyst rate, so it definitely heats up faster than a typical gel. just moving on to the other hand, and I'm going to repeat the same process. Okay, now that there is a base extension on all 10 nails, I'm going back in with that bonder and I'm coating the entire nail and the extension, and I'm just going in one nail at a time, and then I'm freezing, so I'm alternating between hands. I have 2 nail lamps, so this definitely speeds up the nail appointment, and I'm able to continually work on my client without having to wait for the cure of the lamp. So we just alternate finger to finger from each hand to apply this just base layer. I just purchased a Nova Flare for my main dust control system in the salon, and I'm absolutely loving it. I was able to get such a great deal. You should check out my video on YouTube, building my custom nail desk, and you can learn a little bit more about the process of me getting my desk and the span. But if you're in the market for a new dust system and you're a nail tech, I highly recommend the Nova Flares. They definitely are very expensive, and they're one of the most pricey options on the market, but they're so quiet. You can actually hold a conversation with your clients while this fan is on high speed, and it collects about 90 to 100% of the nail dust. I absolutely love it. I think it was such a great investment, and I would definitely buy one again. Now this client requested kind of a smoky, kind of swirled effect over a glass clear tip. So I'm taking some Self Level white gel. This one's called Cachet White from Amore. And I'm just swirling it through the clear on this nail to give it kind of that smoky, hazy finish. And I'm going to repeat this process on her pinkies, her index fingers, and her thumbs. My client also decided that she wanted kind of an ombre from the cuticle over that smoky kind of glass tip. So I'm just applying a little bit more of that Cachet White at the cuticle area, and then I'm spreading it down just to create that blended effect. So I'll repeat this process on her pinkies, her index fingers, and her thumbs. We also decided that we're going to do full nails of nail art on her ring and middle fingers. So I'm going to apply a full nail of Cachet White on both of those two middle fingers. And I'm just working into beads because this client's nails are quite long and I don't want to cause a super hot heat spike. So I'm just building these nails in a few steps to build the color and just to have that base created. I also find that gel kind of has a mind of its own, and if you apply too much to the nail plate at once, it tends to kind of move all over the place. It gets too heavy and then it wants to run into the sidewalls and the cuticle area. So working into beads like this prevents that from happening, as I'm just carrying little bits at a time. I apologize for my head being in the way. I'm a very visual person, so if I need to get a little closer to the nail, I'm right in there so that I can do my best work possible. Okay, so off camera, I also added a little bit more builder gel to all 10 nails. I added crystal sculpt and I cured them for a full 2 minutes, and I also filed off camera. I used my Erica MT20 with my Phat Kat Klaws ceramic cone bit. At the beginning of the video, I used that again for finish filing. I also used the same hand file and buffer blocks to finish file these, and now I'm just going in with my Ugly Duckling detailer brush, and I'm taking a little bit of Elite Black on that brush, and I'm starting to create a half butterfly on these nails. So I'm just going in and following a reference picture, and I start out with the bigger wing first, and then I'm going to move into the smaller one, and I'm going to add detail in multiple steps. I like to freeze here between the base shape of different designs so that I don't smudge something and then need to restart right from the get-go. So I like to work in a few steps when I'm creating more complex designs. Just repeating that same pattern on her other hand on her ring finger to start. Okay, now I'm just adding some more detail to this butterfly wing. So I'm just going in and I'm adding some teardrop shapes into the wing, so it gives kind of that veined appearance. And I'm just doing this in very thin, fine strokes with the Elite Black gel paint as well. Okay, now that I have that base shape, I went in and I'm just creating these kind of little circles and filling in the rest of that space just to give this butterfly wing more detail and more dimension. And I added the body of the butterfly and an antenna to just further add to this design. I cropped out some of the footage because my head was in the way, but I hope that you still get the point. I'll go into more detail on this wing on how I created that same design. So as you can see, without my head in the way of course, I'm just creating these little oval shapes and I'm filling in the rest of the wing with the gel paint where I don't want that coverage. So it's more or less a negative space design with how I'm creating this. Okay, and my plan is to match up that design so that it creates a full butterfly on the adjoining finger. So I'm just lining up the two nails and I'm creating kind of just these marking dots to guide where my wings need to be and what space and shape I have, just so that I can get them as even as possible to create a very symmetrical design. with that other previously finished wing. So I'm just going in and I'm repeating the exact same steps now as I initially did in order to create the butterfly. And that is how I completed this design. I'm just going back in, on the other hand, repeating the same steps as I just did. And off camera, I'm going to top these nails off with some Phat Kat Klaws No Wipe Shiny Top Coat, my favorite top coat. I highly recommend you try it. It's from Salon. And here's the finished design. What do you think? I am in love.